Hi friends, this is the review for angle relationships, okay? So we'll take a few moments to enjoy this little cartoon. No, a cute triangle, like this. Mr. Armstrong's final geometry class before forced retirement. Okay, so we're going to review some vocabulary words. So first, acute angles are in the span from 0 degrees right up to less than 90. So if we look at this circle diagram here, if you imagine that this opening, if we open a door, it means that it's only opening somewhere in this first region. Okay, it's only opening a little bit. That's acute. Coming down lower, a right angle is going to be where it's open, the door opens to exactly 90 degrees. And a lot of times you will see a little square in the corner of a 90-degree angle so that you know that it's 90 degrees and not like 89 or 91 because they might look the same to you. An obtuse angle is this circle up here, and it's from anything that's bigger than 90 but smaller than 180. So when we're opening the door, we're opening the door past 90 degrees. Okay, anywhere past 90, but just before you hit 180 would be an obtuse angle. Reflex angle is when we go past 180. I skipped straight angle, but I'll come back to it. So a reflex angle is going past 180, okay, and it's anything from 180 degrees, over 180 degrees up to 360 degrees. So anything in this entire lower region would be considered reflex. Okay, I skipped over the straight angle down here. Straight angle is exactly 180 degrees, and the two sides, it looks like all one, but it's actually two lines where one line just opened all the way around to the other line. Okay, so it looks like all one line, but it's actually opening all the way around. Okay, intersecting lines are two lines that cross in any way. So we have the line that I'm going to highlight in green, and this other line I'll highlight in pink, and they are crossing. That's all intersecting means. Okay, think about where two roads cross, we call an intersection. Okay. Perpendicular is two lines that cross in a very specific way, okay? They cross at a 90-degree angle in particular, okay? And it could be a plus shape, or it could be this like upside down T shape, okay? Let's talk about interior versus exterior. The interior of an angle means the acute, right, or obtuse. And if you just see a picture of an angle with no labeling, you assume that we're talking about the interior portion of it. Okay, and I'm going to label that with an I. All right, that's an acute interior angle. Here's an obtuse interior angle. The exterior angle is always going to be reflex, because it's going to be the outside. And you'll see a marking. If you don't see any marking at all, that's not exterior. But if you see an arc around the outside, that indicates exterior. Okay, so when two angles are put together, they might form a special relationship. 90-degree angles are very important angles in things like architecture and graphic design and that sort of thing. Think about the corner of pretty much most rooms is a 90-degree angle. So it's important to get those right. So complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. So if I zoom in on this first picture, okay, we see that one of the angles is labeled with 72 degrees and the other angle is labeled with an X. The square in the corner tells me that both of them together make 90 degrees. So in order to figure out what X is, I'm simply going to take 90 and subtract 72. And that's going to give me my solution, which is that X equals 18. Sometimes there are extra lines drawn that you don't really need. So for example, here there's an extra line, here there's an extra line. So let's zoom in on each picture one at a time. Okay, and find X. What is N in this picture? And what is M in this picture? Then there are more complex problems that we can solve when our diagram is not labeled with just numbers, but they're labeled with expressions. So I can see the 90-degree angle in the corner, so that tells me I can take each angle. 4x plus 17 is one of my angles, and x plus 18 is another one of my angles. And I can say that they add up, there's a plus sign in the middle, they add up to 90 degrees. So the first step is to combine my like terms and get 5x plus from the 4x and the x, and the 35 from the 17 and the 18.
Connor Evans, if you're in the building, name office. Connor Evans, name office.
Then we'll solve this two-step by subtracting 35 on both sides, dividing by 5 on both sides, and x equals 11. Now, under normal circumstances, we would feel like we are done with the question because we answered x equals 11. However, the ultimate goal is to find out exactly how many degrees is this purple angle. How many degrees is the green angle? So we're going to take our 4x plus 17 and we're going to sub in the 11 that we just found. So 4 times 11 plus 17 is 61. Then we're going to take the x plus 18 and do the same thing. We're going to sub in the 11, add 18, and get 29. Back in our diagram, we're going to label these 29 and 61. Supplementary angles, it sounds the same thing. They add up to 180 degrees. Notice that this is a completely straight line, that we have a ray that is intersecting that straight line, and it is cutting our 180 degrees into two pieces. One of the pieces is 132 degrees, and the other side is labeled with a T. So in order to solve this, we're going to take 180 degrees, which is the whole thing, and subtract out 132 degrees. And that's going to give us our answer of 48 degrees. So now we'll look at each diagram more closely. Okay. And I want you to find X. In this diagram, there's a part of it we don't really need. Okay, these are the only parts that are labeled. So this part of the line we don't need. It's just there to be a distraction. So go ahead and now find X. And in this diagram, a whole bunch of this is a distraction. We don't really need to see any of that to find G. This is the only part of the diagram that's labeled. Same strategy, 180 minus 63. So go ahead and find G. We can set up and solve an equation to find these angles. They are supplementary. By taking 4x plus 12, that's one of the angles, and adding 2x plus 18, which is the other angle. These expressions combined together equal 180 instead of 90 because we see a straight line. So the first step is combine our like terms. So 6x plus 30. 6x comes from 4x and 2x. The 30 is from the plus 12 and the plus 18. And we carry down equals 180. Subtract 30 both sides. Divide by 6. And x equals 25. But our ultimate goal is finding out how many degrees each angle is. So angle 1 was labeled with 4x plus 12. I'll sub in the 25 for x. And that angle is 112 degrees. My other angle, 2x plus 18, sub in the 25 again, and my other angle is 68. Vertical angles are angles that are across from each other. They are congruent, which means they're equal to each other, congruent Right here is the word congruent. And congruent means equal. So if I tell you that this angle on this side is 62 degrees, then the angle straight across from it is vertical, and it is also 62 degrees. There's no math to do. There's no calculator work to do. It's just the exact same number. Okay, you try. You tell me what this x is on this side. Now, again, the next level of difficulty is setting up an equation where the two angles, in this case, they don't add up to 90. They don't add up to 180. They're vertical. Vertical means they equal each other. So when I set up an equation, I'm going to make 10x plus 5 equal to 7x plus 41. I have variables on both sides, and the first step is to cancel the smaller variable term. So I'm going to subtract 7x both sides. 10x minus 7x is 3x. My plus 5 came down. The 7x's cancel. And the 41 comes down. Then it's still a two-step. Subtract 5. 41 take away 5 is 36. Divide by 3. And x equals 12. Our goal is still to figure out what the two angles are. So it doesn't matter which angle you solve for first. Okay, so I've got 7x plus 41. I'm subbing in 12. 7 times 12 plus 41, do that right on your calculator, is 125 degrees. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other angle, the 10x plus 5. I'm going to sub in 10 times 12 plus 5 and get also 125. They should come out to be the same number because we said the angles are equal. So in order for angles to be equal, they have to come out the same number. All right. The next part of the lesson is we've got parallel lines. Now the two parallel lines are the ones that are like train tracks. This one and this one. And the line that comes down through them and crosses them, intersects them. This line from E to B is called a transversal. Transversal is a line that crosses two parallel lines. Now up here in this corner, in this angle right here, it's saying that this angle is 58 degrees. So the special thing that happens with parallel lines is that the angle that's across from it is also going to be 58 degrees. Okay, because they're vertical. The angle next to the 58 degrees is supplementary. So I'm going to be subtracting to get angle A. I'm going to be doing 180 minus 58, and I'm going to be getting 112 with that. So angle A is going to be 112. Angle B is directly across from it. So just like 58 and 58 are vertical to each other, so that makes them the same number, A and B are vertical to each other, and that makes them the same number. Then we have the whole bottom of our diagram. Okay, so this part of the diagram here at the bottom. And I want you to imagine that this circle is a pizza, and the red and the green lines are cuts that are made into the pizza. If I take this circle up to the ABC 58 area, notice that I'm making identical cuts. Okay, that's a special thing that happens with parallel lines. So the way that we have the numbers rearranged up here, 58, 112, 112, 58, is exactly the same as how it's going to be arranged at the bottom. So 58, 112, G would be 58, and 112. Okay, so over here on the side, now that I have the diagram labeled, it's going to be easy for me to just slide the numbers over where they go. So 112 is A, B is 112, C is 58, D is 58, E is 112, F is 112, and G is 58. If we have a parallel set of parallel lines that are cut by a transversal, there's two different ways we can set up an equation. First, I notice that the angle that's labeled with a 2 and an x is acute. But the angle that's labeled 5x plus 40 is obtuse. So because they are not the same kinds of angles, one's acute, one's obtuse, one's small, one's large, then I know that they are not the same angle. When they are put together, they match up and they form this straight line. And a straight line is supplementary. Supplementary means when I set up the equation, I make it equal to 180. Now, the 7x comes from the 2x and the 5x combined together, and I carried over the 40. Then this is a two-step equation where I'm subtracting 40, dividing by 7, and getting x equals 20. So x equals 20. 2x means I'm going to sub in 2 times 20, and I'm going to get 40. 5x plus 40, so sub in 20 for x. So this angle up here is 40 degrees, and 5x plus 40 is 140, and you'll notice that 40 and 140 add up to 180 degrees. In this next diagram, 4x plus 14 is an acute angle, and 2x plus 32 is also in an acute angle. So because they're the same type of angle, then they are equal to each other. So I'm going to set this equation up a little bit differently. It doesn't add to anything, it equals. There's an equal sign in the middle. There's variables on both sides, so I'll subtract 2x. Subtract 14 both sides. Divide by 2 both sides. And x equals 9. I'll take my 9 and sub it in. 4 times 9 is 14, or is 36, plus 14 is 50. Okay, so this angle up here, 4x plus 14, is 50. My other angle says 2x plus 32. I'll sub in 9 for that x as well. I also get 50, which is a good thing. I'm supposed to get the same number because way back in the start of the problem, I said the angles equal each other. So I better get the same number when I'm done. Triangles. The inside angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if I'm given a simple diagram where two of my angles are labeled on the inside of a triangle and one has a variable, then it's simply taking the 180 and subtracting off 68 and subtracting off 80. And my answer is that x equals 32. Okay, I want you guys to do this one. Figure out what x is. Remember that the corner here has a 90-degree angle. So a little hint to get you started is 180 minus 90. Okay, that'll get you started. Okay, last screen. Triangles add up to 180 degrees. So when I set up the equations for these, they can get really long. So instead of writing them all out separately, let me show you how I got 5x plus 20. I've got 2x, 2x, and 1x. So 2x, 2x, and 1x is 5x. That's where the 5x came from. And a plus 16 and a plus 4 made a plus 20. So that's where the 5x and the plus 20 comes from. It's equal to 180 because, again, triangles add up to 180. So I combined all the like terms to get 5x plus 20 equals 180. I'm going to subtract 20 both sides. 5x equals 160. I will divide both sides by 5. And x equals 32. Okay, now solving and finding all the angles is the exact same process we've been using in previous questions. We take the angles one at a time. So I'm picking angle A to start with. Angle A is labeled with 2x. So I'm subbing in 32 for x. 2 times 32 is 64. Angle B said 2x plus 16. So I'm subbing in 32. 2 times 32 plus 16 is 80. Okay, I want you to find angle C. And that's our lesson. Thank you. Make sure you hit submit.